Welcome back to another episode of Dear Source, your ascendancy hotline, where we connect in with Source and allow me to be a channel for only the highest and greatest good of all and tackle real life questions and scenarios and see them from a spiritual perspective. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we're human beings having a spiritual experience. So everything that goes on in our lives is just a teacher. It's just a teacher. So that's why we're here. We are here to tap in and get connected with Source and tackle whatever the most current listener had a question about. So let's get into today's topic and hear what Source has to say. So today's letter comes from Almost Enough. So this letter reads, Dear Source, I'm an entrepreneur, but I feel like a fraud more often than I'd like to admit. Imposter syndrome seems to hack my day, filling my mind with a relentless, critical voice that questions everything I do. How dare you? Who do you think you are? You're not good enough. It's like a loop I cannot turn off. And it seems to creep up just as I'm trying to take a bold step forward. I know this is my ego talking, trying to keep me safe in a familiar place of doubt, but I am tired of letting it rule my mind. I want to step into my confidence to feel worthy of my achievements and capable of building the vision I have for myself. How do I move past this once and for all? Silence the doubts that keep me playing small. Is there a way to finally break free of this cycle and feel secure in my path as an entrepreneur? Sincerely, Almost Enough. So thank you, Almost Enough, for that beautiful letter. And I think there is a beautiful opportunity for us to really understand what is the spiritual lesson in that. And actually, I think this letter actually is such a beautiful access point for us to talk about how we are interconnected with Source and what's going on there to teach ourselves. And so I would just start off with the reminder that we are Source. We are an emanation of God. We are one with the universe. That's who we are. And when we think about how then we have these experiences where it feels like we are to go put something into the world as an entrepreneur, and that we feel like this doubt, sabotaging voices, all those things start to creep in. And so first and foremost, and I appreciate Almost Enough, is the awareness of like, that is my ego. That is the illusion of the separate self. That is my lower energy centers that are working, that are trying to keep me safe. And when I talk about it's our own energy designed to work against us, like, think how delusional we are to think that our will is greater than God's will, and to think that we are here acting in separation from the universe. And we know that We are one with the universe. We're all interconnected. We're interconnected with everything and everyone in the entirety of the universe. I was sharing with somebody yesterday in a coaching session that in 1 gram of our DNA, we house 13.5 billion years worth of data, which is the age of the universe, which also should just reinforce from a scientific perspective, like we are the universe. In 1 gram of our DNA, we house the entirety of the universe. So to think that we are not the universe and try to separate ourselves from that and act separate from the universe, even as an entrepreneur, our business is an energetic being. It's a being within source. We are one with everything, which means we're one with our creation. We are one to be expressing through us what source wants to create through us. And that's what we're here to really realize as individuals is one, to remember who we are, to remember that we are an emanation of God, source, the universe, and divine himself. We are God made manifest in our bodies. Just like a drop in the ocean can't be teased apart from the rest of the ocean, that's the same concept that goes for us as a human being in a human collective. So we are source. We are here to remember our divinity of who we are, that we are here to act in oneness with source. And we were gifted this beautiful energy called the ego, which you could deem as your personality. Kind of, it's again that illusion. Like the ego here would be Aaron. Source is an Aaron. Ego is Aaron. So to be over-identified with self, you're not working in co-creation with source in the spirit. And we are here to remember that we are source and that we are here to work in co-creation with spirit. So what's it mean to work in co-creation with spirit? And even as an entrepreneur, and this was something that really came through yesterday as a source of, as I work as an entrepreneur, similar to you, I've had moments recently where it's like, am I creating from source or am I creating from self? Am I creating from a state of lack and push and doership, which is ego, of I need to go do this. Okay, I'm going to run over here, do this. I'm going to go do this. Versus what would source that is expressing through me, through my business, want me to be doing? What is the most authentic articulation of what source would like to gift the universe through the vessel of Aaron? Because anytime we're in perceived deficit or in a state of doership, we are acting from our lower 3 energy centers of lack, of attachment, of control, and fear. And we're not, what signal is that sending to the universe when we're in an energy of, I'm going to force this? I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to send out an email. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Like when we're creating from, I'm lacking, this seems like a good idea. What about this? Like, and we're not in co-creation with source itself. I'm one with source. I am here to express into the world what source would have me uniquely share, because no one else can share through my vessel what I have been uniquely called to do. So in that, residing in that, knowing I am the infinite abundance of the universe, I house the entire history of the universe in 1 gram of my DNA. What am I lacking? If I'm moving with the universe, just like a wave in the ocean of like, oh, I feel like I should do this today, or yeah, I really should pick up the phone and call this person. Like the universe is conspiring to give you your desires. But when you start to override that through your own action and activities, because that's what you perceive is supposed to be getting done, the universe, it's like when we hold on something too tight, and it's like it wants in we want to receive more, but our hands so constricted. It's like, how do you open up and allow? You can't receive if you're not in a space of understanding who you are. Yes, you might go interact in the world and actually accomplish something, but when you're not co-creating from source, you're actually not allowing source to gift you even something better or more than what you even realize. And anytime we're trying to control an outcome, push an outcome, dictate an outcome, direct an outcome, if I do this, like if we look at the vast majority, I would say if everything I see in the world is created through ego. And so when you create from something limited and lacking and fear-based and attached to outcomes and lacking, you can only create to a certain level because that's the only point of which you expand it out from. And you're doing it through force. So there's no sustainability in that. Because you're not in allowance of what the universe wants to gift you, versus focusing on who am I supposed to be? What is my unique expression into the world? And how am I supposed to express that and allow universe to do its magic to bring all the things together that the universe wants to gift you, that is of your Father's desires. What you desire, that comes from source. It wants to gift it to you. But what we don't realize is our ego selves, are the ones that actually get in the way of receiving the gifts, because we perceive that we are the individual doers of that action. So if Aaron, the ego self, acts, that's not an infinite being. She's finite in the ego. So she can only get so much because that's the place that she's acting from, versus if I allowed myself to open up to the universe, what would the universe be willing to gift me? Because I'm acting in co-creation with it and allowing the universe to work through me. So almost enough, not only is it overcoming the voices of the ego, but also starting to really dissect, what is my creation point? Am I creating from ego? Am I and it will feel constricted because you very much are become a doer. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Here's the outcome. Like it's very manufactured. And that's the world we live in. But learning how to expand into the totality of who we are, to allow source to work through us non-egoically, we actually get to receive even more than what our ego selves can probably even perceive. In wanting egoic things, the universe doesn't align and work with that. It's not here to give your ego what you want. It wants to give you what your desires are that are alignment with consciousness. So we have a huge, huge, huge opportunity to realign ourselves. We are here to be in ease. We are here to recognize the state of which we're acting from. Are we in our center of power when we're in our higher dimensions of consciousness? Or are we acting from a place of force and that we're going to exert our will? You know, and like I said, if I were to sit down and study business and things happen, there's outcomes, but they're not sustainable. I've been there. I've acted from that space. I still have to catch myself acting from that space, because the other thing is as you grow and evolve, the ego becomes more nuanced, of where you're thinking like, I'm co-creating with source, I'm listening. But if I look at the energetics underneath it of like, where am I really coming from? Am I coming from a place of force? Am I coming from a place of like, this has to happen by this time? Right there, the universe is going to constrict back. And actually, you're never going to receive it in the timeline that you think you want to, because you're not in allowance with the universe. You're not sending a signal to the universe that I have implicit trust for you to deliver what my desires are. And I mean, desires in alignment with source, not desires of the ego, because the universe actually isn't even designed to do that. It's here to give you the desires of your highest self. So we have a huge, huge, huge opportunity in today's day and age to really look at where are we at, where are we coming from? Am I coming from my ego, or am I coming from my higher self? And what are those nuanced differences that would come through if I transcended into a higher dimensional state? Because if I look at the world and where we're at, we create from lack. Even when you see these people post about how much money they're making, or the next thing they're going to chase to make some more money, like, all they're doing is creating from ego. And over time, yeah, they might see some results, but it will always come back to it kind of like a boom or bust or constriction, because the universe is trying to teach us that you're here to co-create with me from the highest desires of your highest self, not your egoic self. What's your highest self? We are here to create heaven on earth and have infinite abundance as a human species, as a human being. The universe is not trying to constrict down. What's happening is we constrict down because A, we don't remember who we are, but then we don't work in union, in oneness with that, to then expand into the universe to allow it to gift back to us what we want to receive. And we are the creators of our reality. So if I'm constricted, if I'm stressed, if I feel like I'm the individual doer, what is the world going to feed back to me? Well, you're not getting that done, and that didn't work. And okay, what about this? I only got this. Oh my gosh. Like, what if you put all of that aside and focused on remembering who you are and understanding that you are the infinite abundance of the universe? What does my Father, God, source of the universe, divine, desire for me to do? And can I go act from that space in the world? Because that's what my soul came here to express. And am I open to receiving the infinite abundance that the universe wants to gift me when I'm in that vibrational state? So I would just call out not only the negative mindset, the saboteurs, the negative self-talk, the imposter syndrome, like, well, that's your ego saying, hey, You think you're this creator? No. Who do you think you are? Like, we have such an opportunity, like why that's occurring. What's the spiritual gift to help you step in to the essence of who you are? And yes, the ego is designed to keep you safe, but what does it need to be keeping you safe from? Nothing. So where we have not only the opportunity to understand that and to requalify that into the actual truth of who we are, but then we also have the opportunity to really look at, where am I acting from? Am I acting from source? Am I, or true source? Or am I acting from my ego because I'm feeling I've got to go take this action. I got to go take this action. I got to go take this action. And if I don't take those actions, I'm not going to get the results I want. And then when the results don't come in, oh my God, now what am I going to do? Like, look at where you're acting from. Are you acting from the most expansive, limitless aspect of yourself? Are you acting from your soul? Our true self is our soul. And when we come into the remembrance of we are our souls, that we all have a unique energetic blueprint that no one else has, there's nothing that anybody is getting that I myself can't receive. No, we all get to receive all that we desire, because that's how the universe is set up to work. So we're not in competition with anybody else. The only thing we're in competition with is our ego to say, no, I am safe. I am the infinite abundance of the universe, and I am here to receive what God wants me to receive if I act in cooperation, in co-creation with Him. So I would just offer, I could probably talk for 2 more hours, 3 more hours on this. So if you'd like to book a private session, almost enough to kind of dive into yourself. Where are you at? What are the energetics that are blocking you? Understanding, am I acting from a place of true source, from true consciousness, or am I acting from a place of ego and a place of force, trying to will the outcome, which over time just simply will not work? So I would love to get you on my calendar. So please book if you feel called to. If anybody else would like a private one-on-one session with me to connect, to understand, I would love that. Like, where are you at? What are you feeling challenged with? And how can I point you in the right direction? And maybe it means working with me longer term to really set yourself up for some incredible long-term success. My goal and the reason why I come on here is I want to help people remember who they are, activate into their pure consciousness to be infinite, abundant, to be the most transformative lights in this world, so that we may truly know God's desired abundance for us, to realize heaven on earth. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you activate and step into that, to remember the true essence of who you are, to call you into that, to have you act from a place of that, and to know that when we do that, we are going to have results that we have never seen. And we will transcend the ego, and we will operate from a state of love, and we will raise the consciousness on this planet and do things that we can't even imagine possible, because we are acting from states of fear, lack, and attachment. So please connect, please reach out. I am truly in service to humanity and the collective. And I truly mean when I say, like, book yourself on my calendar. It would be a absolute delight and absolute pleasure. And also coming soon, we have a like-minded spiritual community for you to join, to get connected with. We are an interconnected being, and we are here to eradicate the loneliness pandemic. We are here to create oneness. We are here to overcome the illusion of separation. And I could not be more excited for that community and what that will mean for humanity. So please stay tuned. It's getting co-created with Spirit. So as things get fleshed out, you will be the first to hear about that. So please stay tuned. If you would like to write a letter, if you would like to connect, there's a link all over the place, everywhere. It's all over all my social media channels. I will make sure I include it in the show notes as well. But ask. There's not anything that you cannot ask that Spirit doesn't have an answer for. So send them in. Let's have the discussion. If you're feeling it, the vast majority of other people are feeling it. So don't feel shy. We have a definite opportunity to realize how interconnected we are and the oneness that we share. And until tomorrow, trust the process, honor your truth, and stay connected to Source.